Noah, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Appreciate it. Have a seat. Okay.
Take two.
We're making television here.
Take two.
Don't you wish you could have a take two on the mound? Yeah, I didn't like that pitch.
Yeah.
Let's do that again.
Yeah, don't count that one.
Action.
Noah, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good to see you.
It's nice to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Have a seat. See if the microphone is going to be very close to your face.
Good.
Here's the 2-2 swing and a miss.
From Illinois, Noah Schultz, the 6'10" left-hander, the White Sox top prospect.
Overall in Major League Baseball, he's prospect number 13 in the top 100.
All right, Noah Schultz, let's start in the beginning. All right, you grew up in Naperville, right?
Yeah, so I grew up Oswego, Naperville area, and then went to Oswego East High School, yes.
Okay, so you grew up here, big sports fan? Was like sports in your life from the beginning?
Yeah, it was a lot of sports, baseball, football, not really as much basketball, even though I'm pretty tall. But yeah, it was a sports family. My sisters played softball growing up. But yeah, around sports growing up the whole time.
We joked for many, many years that Noah's been to more softball games than he has been to baseball games. Being the youngest, he really got dragged to a lot of softball games. It was a lot of traveling with his sisters, being around the sport, being around them, being competitive. You know, a lot of times that the kids would be in the backyard playing wiffle ball or some sort of baseball amongst themselves.
Where does that come from, that competitor in you?
I think it's just been a family thing. You know, my sisters both played softball, growing up through it. Just being around them, being competitive, playing wiffle ball in the backyard, playing pickup basketball, just doing things. Everything I do, compete and try to be the best.
I'm trying to imagine you throwing a wiffle ball.
Yeah.
I mean, some people say you are, in a way, throwing a wiffle ball and it's a baseball. Did they have any chance?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was when I was still pretty young. A lot of arguments, a lot of balls and strike calls, but a lot of good times, a lot of things I learned about.
Are they older than you, younger?
They are. They're 2 and 3 years older than me.
Right. What do they think about your success so far?
You know, I think they're proud of me, but I think as much I'm proud of them because they did everything before me, the whole college process and everything. So I definitely learned a lot from them and took a lot from them to get to where I am today and wouldn't be here without them.
Come on, come on.
All right, so you're playing Little League Baseball. Were you a pitcher all the time, or did you play other positions?
So I became pitcher only probably around 14 or 15, so pretty long. I've been just pitching. But when I played, I think freshman year of high school, I played some first base, some outfield. Wasn't very good at hitting, so that's why I leaned towards just pitching now.
I would have loved to throw to you at first base.
Yeah, no, it was definitely fun to play different positions, but I think definitely pitching's my thing.
All right, so when did the growing begin for you?
So I grew 13 inches in 2 years from 8th grade to sophomore year. So it was pretty quick, but then yeah, I'm 6'10" now, so.
Noah in 8th grade started to grow a little bit quicker than he had. He had always been a little taller than the other kids. He had always been, you know, a few inches taller than everybody else, but nothing crazy. Between 8th grade, freshman year, I think he grew about 6 inches. Freshman year to sophomore year, he grew another 6 inches. Very painful to grow that much that quickly. His knees hurt, his ligaments, everything was stretching, everything was being pulled. So it was a very painful process for him, and you don't realize it every day, but to see just how he's growing and it's so quickly, and you wake up overnight, he's 6 inches taller than he was a year ago. And then the next year, he's another 6 inches taller. So things progressed from that where, you know, as playing baseball, his velocity would start to increase.
Yeah, it was a lot. Shoes, clothes, everything didn't fit for more than I'd say like a month or two. But it was definitely something that I embraced and something that I'm proud to be tall now, and definitely something that's me. So it was great to go through that, go through the challenges of it, but I think we're good now.
When did you have a feeling that as a pitcher, there was something special about you?
It was when I was trying out for new teams. I think it was my 15U team. I went to 𝗵𝗄𝘃 Sparks and I had a tryout. And I was not really sure about whether or not I was going to make the team. And then I was seen by some of the coaches and they were like, "You're pretty good."
So we went and tried out for the Sparks. I remember Noah's mother and I going to that tryout being nervous. Will he make the travel team? Won't he make the team? They've got, 3 or 4 different level teams. We're hoping he can be on their top travel team at 15 years old. Went to the tryout. I still remember Dave Payton coming up to us after the tryout saying, "Yeah, of course he's on our team, and you need to start thinking of a plan or what you're going to do for the draft." "What draft?" And he said, "Whether he goes to college, whether he doesn't go to college, at some point he's going to be involved in the draft for Major League Baseball." We're like, "Dude, come on, we just want to make the A-level team at 15, the travel team." And then everything just went so quickly over those 3 months.
And then it was colleges within a couple weeks, and then it was boom, sophomore year I was commit, and then did a bunch of things throughout high school summer circuit.
The Sparks had called and said the University of Louisville had interest in him attending there. So we went from hoping to make a travel team to a major D1 baseball school interested in him. A couple months later, we went to a tournament down in Fort Myers, Florida. There were probably 20 coaches or so behind the backstop watching him pitch. All of these schools had interest, wanted Noah to call. By November, he went to a camp at Vanderbilt. A couple days later, it was his dream school. A couple days after the camp, they offered him a scholarship, and he agreed. He was all excited to go to Vanderbilt at that point, but it wasn't part of the grand plan.
You're going to go to Vanderbilt. What changed? Was it clearly, well, I have a chance to go pro? Was that really what did it for you?
Yeah, it was an opportunity I definitely couldn't pass up, and I'm glad I didn't. This is a dream come true.
He got to senior year, his first start out, I remember he went out. There had to be 20 to 30 scouts there at that game for the first game of the year. We were all excited. He threw in and he just fantastic. He had gained velocity and all of a sudden he was in the mid to upper 90s. And I remember 𝗵𝗃 from the White Sox coming over to me after he got out of the game saying, "What happened? Where did this velocity come from? He's taken such a huge step since the fall." I got a phone call from Noah's advisor at the time. He's like, "Hey, the White Sox called. They want to do a Zoom call tomorrow." Okay, great. So next day we did a Zoom call. 𝗵𝗃 was on it, who we had been working with a couple years. We had known him since the area code games when Noah was 15. And I think the Sox had 4 people on a Zoom call, and we talked, and you could play for a local team, and very positive.
Noah Schultz is a freak. The first time we saw him, we were in awe of the upside and the talent. We got to see Noah for the first time in 2020 at our underclass area code games, and it was during the COVID year, so we kind of had a scout by reputation, and we had talked to Noah's travel coaches, and they were extremely high on him, and the intrigue of a 6'9" lefty. He was 6'9" at the time, he's 6'10" now. A 6'9" lefty who throws from an orthodox low 3/4 slot. You start seeing the profile and it reminds you of another 6'10" lefty. I can show you my report. It says, easy comp Randy Johnson, and it's real. He's 6'10". They both have electric stuff. They both could get it up in the upper 90s. Both had wipeout sliders. In fact, I think Noah has a better changeup than Randy Johnson ever did. On the 20 to 80 scale, that's how we grade players' pitches. I gave Noah a future 80 fastball, a future 70 slider, and a future 60 changeup. That's a combination of elite stuff. 26 seasons with the White Sox, I've never seen that 80 grade put on many players. It doesn't happen very often.
And then a couple days later, we found out Noah had mono. He couldn't pick up a baseball for 8 weeks. So he basically missed most of his senior season.
And I pitched in the summer between the high school season and the draft, so I got some innings out there, but having such a shortened senior season, yeah, I wasn't really sure if I was going to get drafted.
So when we came to draft night, Noah had talked with his advisor. He had set his expectations where he was at. We were probably 50-50 on whether we thought he was going to get drafted and get a reasonable offer, or he was going to go to school.
So when you get drafted, take us to that day. What were you doing? What were you feeling when you heard your name called?
Yeah, so we just stayed at home. Family was there. My one sister was at school at Stanford, so we Zoomed her in and had the laptop up by the TV, so it was kind of cool. And then she recorded the whole thing, so we have it all on video. But it was a nice day. It was pretty calm. And then the pick went in, and it was great. It was the best day of my life so far.
Noah had talked with his advisor. $2.8 million was his goal. Otherwise, he was going to go to Vanderbilt. 3-4 picks before the White Sox pick, Noah's agent had called. Hey, the White Sox are willing to draft you in $2.789. So it was about $11,000 less than his bonus.
I discussed it with my family, but definitely it came down to it being my decision.
And he said, I think that's close enough. I can work with that. So his agent went back to the White Sox, said the White Sox agreed to your 2.8 number.
With the 26th pick of the 2022 MLB draft, the Chicago White Sox select Noah Schultz, a left-handed pitcher from Oswego East High School in Oswego, Illinois.
We all, jumped up. It was the best decision of my life, and I'm really happy to be here. A lot of stuff's happened since then, but yeah, it was definitely a day I'll never forget.
Were you expecting White Sox, or were you thinking it could be another team?
I was majority expecting White Sox. I mean, I think I talked to other teams, but I know White Sox, talked to scouts a lot, and I know that this is the place I wanted to be.
So you start your minor league career. What has that been like for you? We've seen you dominate. We also see you go 3-4 innings to try to save your arm and get your durability up. What's it been like so far for you?
Yes, my first year had some small injuries throughout the year. A lot of learning experiences, a lot of things I learned about my body and the routine of just minor league baseball. And then last year was healthy the whole year. Was still on pitch limit, pitch count, but learned a lot.
He was probably 19 years old playing for Kannapolis. Everybody else was much older. So for a younger kid, he spent a lot of time just on his own, staying, in his room. He enjoys video games and staying in and keeping to himself. So Kannapolis was a really good year. It was a fun year. I think he learned a lot from that. He learned, as far as his process of what he does between starts, how to ramp up in the spring, how to be a professional, how to work with the schedule. Year 2 last year, he started out at High A in Winston-Salem. I think the plan was that he was going to spend the season at Winston-Salem. We had kind of talked with Noah's agent, and he said, enjoy High A. You're going to take it nice and slow. You'll be at High A this year. And I think he had 6 or 7 starts at High A, and they called and they said they're promoting him to Birmingham to Double A.
All right, welcome to Birmingham. So whenever we walk in the stadium, you kind of see the big mural of Michael Jordan. It's pretty cool, and look at that every day and want to be like him. Different sports, but it's just the mindset of how he was going about being a winner.
I see Noah off the field is very quiet, very reserved, keeps to himself. When Noah gets on the mound, I see the competitive side come out. I see his reactions after he has a big strikeout. And you can see that excitement, you can see the competitive nature in him that I don't see off the field. Off the field, he's much more quiet, reserved. And I think once he gets on the field, that competitive nature kind of takes over, and you see that excitement.
All right, so you're in Birmingham, you win a championship. What was that experience like?
It was unreal. Ever since I got there, we were winning majority games, and it was definitely something to be around the guys that hopefully I'm playing with them for a long time. But it was a lot of learning, just learning how to win, to compete with the team, Then that playoff atmosphere when we were on the road, it was like with the other fans, it was something to learn about. And then when we got back home, it was great to be supported by everybody.
Vernon's two-strike pitch. Swing for a bang! Up the middle through! It's over! In 10, Gladney! The Chicago kid comes through.
Great experience with Birmingham. Again, I got to go see a lot of games, see him play last year. Getting to go and play in the championship series. I got to pitch, start a game in the championship series, and the camaraderie of doing all of that. The celebration afterward. He at first tried to stay back a little bit because he was still only 20. And then I think he got sprayed with a couple bottles of champagne eventually, but he tried to stay out of the celebration, I think, a little bit at first, and they pulled him in, so it was a good experience for him.
This is the first thing I've ever won, yeah. High school we didn't win anything, and I didn't go to college, so this was the first thing that really I had won. We actually got our championship rings during spring training. It was a great experience to get a piece of memorabilia to remember the season and look back and see how great it was. The ring, I didn't know what to expect. I certainly didn't expect my name engraved on the side, but it was really cool. It was kind of like a class reunion, even though it was only a couple months later.
You could look back at what happened in the playoffs. In the second half, there were a lot of changes with the team. You guys weren't playing as well as you were before, but then you beat two red-hot teams in the playoffs, the Cubs AA team, the Rays AA team, and you fall behind one game in the championship, and you won out from there. How did you guys come together and do that?
It's just a locker room thing. I think we had a team chemistry that nobody couldn't break. That's why we won the championship. Just the guys, being together in the locker room all day, being on the field. Guys that I'm friends with and that I'm teammates with, that it really worked out well. Being in Major League camp, I wasn't really sure how long I was going to be there. I wasn't sure if I was even going to get into a game. So, I was definitely very grateful to have been able to get into one game, let alone two.
As Schultz fires home, swing and a miss. And Schultz gets another K. That's one of the top prospects in all of baseball, Noah Schultz. He is about his business.
Being around the guys, I'm definitely very grateful to have been there.
What a day. Let's get everybody. Let's get some high fives. One from everyone. Down the line. One from the camera.
So the whole year as a whole, a lot went on. It was the first big league spring training that I had. And the time that I had spent there, I learned a lot, met a lot of awesome people that, helped me, my day-to-day stuff, and it was great. The season, I'd say that there were some ups and downs, a lot of learning experiences. A lot of things that, I think that's part of the process. A lot of things little things that throughout the day that, you just pick up on that, help you become the best player you can. In AA, it was a great time. We had a great team there.
All right, the Birmingham Barons are taking the field with the left-hander Noah Schultz on the mound.
We were doing really well and, I was learning a lot. And then he got sent up to AAA.
Good evening, everyone. We got the Toledo Mudheads playing host to the Charlotte Knights. Which is in tight, and it hits 𝗻•Lee right in the elbow as the 3-2 is outside. So a hit batter in this inning and 2 walks, and the bases are full of hens. On its way, a drive high in the air, deep to left field.
Battled some adversity there and then some injury.
As we welcome you in here to Truist Field, the Charlotte Knights just announced an injury.
It was my third pitch of my pregame bullpen. It was my plant leg, my right knee. I threw a pitch and it was kind of a sting. It was something that I hadn't really felt before. Threw another pitch and I threw it to the backstop because I couldn't really land on my leg.
Noah Schultz, the top overall prospect of the Chicago White Sox. So he's been scratched from the start here tonight. Looked to be a leg injury. Don't know what it was, but he was limping off the field.
Got an MRI. It was a small partial tear of the patella tendon. I ended up getting shut down for the year. But it was a lot that I took out of it. There were some negatives, some positives, but I think that's part of the journey. And I think without that, without failure, success doesn't feel as good. There's a lot of things, to get ready for Chicago. It's super exciting. The guys that are here that, I've been playing with at points during this year. And it's definitely, obviously the goal is to get to Chicago. And it's awesome seeing those guys, seeing all the work they put in. But then again, it's just another thing of motivation for me to get up there. It's something that, in the off season, it's something that, you're always thinking about. It's something that every time you go work out, that you have the goal in mind, the big picture. And I think that as long as, you don't get that too much in your head, I think it's nice, to think about that and understand like what the process you're working towards is. Stuff I do in the off season, I think that, every day just giving it 100% and, doing what I do and being confident in my abilities. I think that's all I can do at this point. I think that, I just get ready for spring training and go out there and be healthy, and I'm excited.
I'm excited for him. I really am. I think for him, this is the next step in his development, his process. As a parent, I couldn't be prouder of him. I still think I'm going to wake up tomorrow and find out this was kind of all a dream, and Noah's still in high school and still playing for the local travel team, and that this was all something that I just kind of made up, and I finally woke up from my dream. If he gets lucky enough to get called up someday, it doesn't seem real. And then for Noah to potentially be able to play for the hometown White Sox someday would just be very exciting.
All right, so you're sitting here in a major league clubhouse. You're wearing a White Sox jersey. How does that feel, and how close do you feel you are to the major leagues?
I feel like I'm close, but I know it's not, and that's not my call. I know that I'm ready and I'm going to go out and do what I do. But it's definitely surreal. It's a dream come true to be here. A dream come true to put this jersey on, and I'm excited.
What will that mean when you get the call, assuming you do, that you're coming to the major leagues?
I'm not really sure how I'm going to react. I know it's going to be that's definitely going to be surreal, but I think that's the surprise of it in the moment that I guess we'll see what happens.